Um, yeah, 2022. Uh, Hell of a fucking year, I will say. Um, I usually these videos have much more of a structure to them. Usually I will use an anecdote at the beginning, to kind of wrap my entire year into a whole, but I can't really do that. This year has been the craziest shit I have ever experienced. I've lost more people this year that I think were foundations in my life than I think I ever have before. Um and to wrap all of that up into like one little anecdote at the beginning feels like I'm not doing it justice, if that makes sense. Uh, for anyone wondering, I'm recording this the day after Christmas, and I know usually that is like the worst day of the year. Usually, the day after Christmas and Christmas in general is usually the time when people are killing themselves the most. But I would just like to say that I have no thought of doing that whatsoever. As much as I'm going to talk about my year in this video and talk about how absolutely fucking awful it's been, um, I just want to say that I think I'm happy, and that's weird because it's not what I thought it would be. For the past, I don't know how long, maybe my entire life, I've never really found true peace. Since I was 13 years old, I've been on medication to help with depressive and manic episodes. My brother died when I was really young, like I talked about last year. Um, and mm, my father was just he was an alcoholic for a very long time, and I think a lot of everything in my life just kind of piled up and kept piling up. And I think this year I finally took time to look at myself and really address what the fuck the issue is. And the issue is me. See, since I was a kid, I've learned this way to cope was to just keep moving forward, to not give myself time to breathe. And it just didn't really work. But I thought it did because I never stopped. Because I never stopped moving. And at the beginning of this year, I was going to start a project with my friend Brennan, uh, also known as Capu TV, and another friend, Sergaya. And I think in that moment, I stopped moving. You know how a shark will kind of do this thing where it keeps moving forward because if it stops moving forward, it fucking dies. I thought I was a shark, if that makes any sense. Um, at the beginning of this year, I had a full mental breakdown, and I just want to say, Brennan and Sergaya, fuck your username, bro. You're Zach. Okay, I know you don't like that shit being out there, but you're Zach. You're Zach to me, honestly. Zach and Brennan, you guys have helped me so fucking much. And I know that I don't talk to you as much as I should, Zach. And I know that me and Brennan have kind of had this on and off thing going on because of different things happening in our lives. But I mean, I think being there for me in that moment really, really helped. And I think we all understood that we didn't do that project not because we didn't want to do it together, but because we knew that we weren't ready to, if that makes sense. We all stopped moving at the same time, and we realized that nothing was like it should be. The situation I'm talking about, I ended up having a full mental breakdown in a Discord chat. Zach was not awake, and Brennan was, and Brennan freaked out on me initially and then helped me get instated into a mental hospital. And the reason was because I was planning on just ending it. I stopped moving and everything hit me all at once. And while I was in there, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't want to call my mom. My mom was so worried about me. She fucking drove me to the hospital that night. I didn't want to call my dad because I called my dad on the way to the hospital that night and told him that I was getting checked in because I couldn't do it anymore. And I didn't want to call my best friend at the time, Travis, because I knew that he couldn't deal with it. And I don't mean that to say that Travis couldn't deal with my mental crisis. He had for many years before that. I mean that Travis didn't have the mental capacity at that point to deal with the idea that his best friend tried to kill himself and he wasn't there. Travis had recently been doing a lot of military stuff at the time. And because of that military stuff, we hadn't really talked as much, which is why I found comfort in other friends. Friends that happened to be online. And I knew that at that point if I had told him, I feel like he would have felt really bad, and I think it would have ruined a lot of things for him, and I didn't want to do that to him. So I ended up calling Brennan while I was in the hospital almost every day, if not every other day. Um, and while I was in there, I realized something that I don't think I had realized in a long time was that I wasn't alone. Because when you're in a hospital like that, I'm not sure if any of you have ever been in a hospital like that, but they take your phone away. They take your way of communicating with others outside of said hospital walls away. And the only time you can is if you have a phone number of said person, and you will go and call them up on this payphone style phone with a really bad receptor and a really bad speaker, and you will call them up and you will say, "Hey, um you good to talk right now? Because it's not like you can text them and be like, hey, you want to talk later? You have to call them, and that really fucking sucked. And when I was in that hospital, I realized for the first time I wasn't alone, and inside those walls, I was alone. And I think 5 days in, I had a full mental breakdown in front of the entire hospital staff. But it wasn't the type of mental breakdown that you would have where, well, now we know the problem, now we can get to the source of the problem. It was that hospital was the problem. And I think I think when I got out, I really pursued trying to be better, not just for myself, but for the people around me, because I felt bad for what I had done to Brennan and Zach. And the reason I felt bad was because Brennan had informed me of what I had done and how it was perceived by him. And I thought about it. I thought about it the entire week and a half, 2 weeks, however long I was in there. I don't know. It was so fucking long ago. I thought about it while I was in there. I kept thinking about it, and I just kept thinking about it because all you have in there is, you know, your bed, anything you can read. I didn't have any fucking books on me. A pen, not even a pen, a fucking dull ass pencil, and some paper. And I thought about everything he had said to me that night. And when I came out, I finally said, I'm going to get a hold of myself and I'm going to get better. And that's what I did. We didn't end up going through with the project, but I did end up releasing the one video I had finished for said project on my main channel, which was the 100 Thieves documentary, which wasn't completely finished, I will say. I think that the idea of when I posted that video, I think I posted it not when I originally posted it. When I was going to post it on the group channel that we were doing, I don't think I was posting it because I thought it was a good video. I think I was posting it because I was in a cycle of, well, this looks almost finished. Get to the next thing. And I realized that I need to slow down. And slowing down is going to fucking suck. Because it's going to make you realize every single little fucking mistake that you do. And that's what I did. Um, the next thing to happen that year that I think really affected me was this year. It's this year. I don't know why I'm saying that year like it's already last year. The next thing to happen this year was probably I stopped doing content entirely. Um and the reason for this is probably not something most people can understand because of how inconsistent my content was. The reason I stopped doing it was not because I needed to stop and think, but mostly because of how much stress it was to have to stop and think about every little thing I did on the internet. I think that really put like a hold on my brain. I think I had to reevaluate the way I put out content this year. And that was really hard. And I think the thing that actually helped a lot was actually me getting into TikTok later on in the year. I think when I got into TikTok and I started posting stuff because I wanted to and not because I thought it was a great piece of work, not because I thought it was some sort of masterpiece in content. I think that really I think that really did something for me. I stopped taking my meds this year. That was fucking insane. I know it's a crazy jump. I'm saying I'm trying to get better, and now I'm talking about how I stopped taking my meds. Follow my line of thought here, okay? Um, so basically, that shit happened at the beginning of the year, and then I want to say about a month after my birthday, I talked with my psychiatrist, and my psychiatrist was talking to me, and she was like, "You're doing really well," and I was like, "I know." And she was like, "So I guess we don't have to make any changes to your meds." And I was like, "But I'm doing really well." She was like, "Yeah." And we had this conversation back and forth for the entire half-hour session. And I realized I had not been off medication since I was a child. So I talked to her and I basically said, "I want a month. I want you to wean me off these meds and I want a month off of them. If something bad happens, I have prescriptions so I can immediately start taking them again. But I want a month. That month, I want to be able to be off medication for the first time." She did not like the idea, but went through with it anyway, and I stopped being on meds. And in that month, I think I became the happiest I ever have been in my entire life. I'm not sure if it was August, actually. It definitely wasn't August. It was definitely earlier than that. I think it was like April or May. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. My timeline's fucked for this year, I've noticed. And I don't know why. I think it's because I'm measuring like time based on things, but everything feels so either close or far away. Um, the thing that happened during that month I was off meds, was I actually got into a huge fight with a friend, that I had known for 2 years at that point, and we stopped talking entirely. Um, because I realized that he had been, fucking with me the entire time we had been friends. Um, and that was fucked. And then after that, I lost my entire IRL friend group, which I think was even crazier. Like, mind you, I have known these people since I was a kid. I think like 14 years old was when I had met them. And first, I lost Clayton, but I had lost him like a year and a half, 2 years ago. because we just didn't see eye to eye. And I think it was because I was very judgmental of his situation. I think instead of understanding where he was and telling and trying to give him advice or helping him to use his situation to his advantage or try and be better, I think I judged him for the situation he was in. And I think that was very wrong of me. And I can see that now. And I think I saw it like this entire year and I just never said it to him. And I think the reason I never said it to him was because I felt like the entire group we were in was pushing the idealism that um was what we were saying, which was that your situation's fucked and you got yourself into it and that's your fault. And that sucks. That I mean, imagine your best friends telling you like you fucked up so bad and dig yourself out now. Like that must fucking suck and I feel bad for what I did. But there's nothing I can do now. And I think that is the thing that we all have to realize at some point is that there's nothing we can do now, right? The situation's over with. Why dwell on it? Why be sad about it? It's over. Um, the next friend I would lose would be my lifelong best friend Travis. And the reason for that was mostly because of my own incompetence. My incompetence to understand who he was turning into and how to be a friend to that. Instead, I I was the same old friend I always was while forming into my own person. And I think we grew apart because of that. And I remember I hadn't talked to him for a month and a half. And I remember my friend, or our friend, Danny, texted me and was like, hey, you want to go out, that sort of thing. So we go out in Danny's car and we're driving. And I'm like, hey, why hasn't Travis hit me up for like a month and a half? What the fuck's up with him? And Danny was like, he's done, bro. I remember the last conversation that I actually had with Travis. Like the last real conversation that I had, not like stupid shit, but like the real conversation. We were driving to his house. I forget if we were grabbing something or going somewhere. I forget. But we were driving to his house and I remember saying to him, I was like, I'm not happy with this anymore. And he was like, why? And I was like, I feel like me and you are so unbelievably different that neither of us want to admit that this is not fun anymore. And that's a crazy thing to say to someone you've known that long. Um, Mind you, I was off my meds at this point. So Travis took this as fucking crazy brain stupidness. And I don't think it was because remembering how I felt, I still feel that way. I just didn't think he'd be so done like he is, if that makes sense. Like, when I said that, I think what I meant was I think we just need to take a step back from each other and not prioritize each other as much in our lives as we do. I think that's what I meant. But I think he took that as like I'm done with you. Don't text me, don't call me, nothing. And that's not what I meant. I mean, I tried to call him a week before Christmas because I wanted to see if he was, how he was doing, and he didn't even pick up. I left him a voice message and everything. Didn't even, didn't even call me back. I think he's just really done. I think Danny was right, and that sucks. Because, I mean, I love the dude. I want the best for him. And if he thinks that the best for him is having me out of his life, then I'm happy for him. I really am. And I'm sorry that it had to be that way. Because I truly saw you being in my life forever, whether that was a minuscule or a major part. I saw you in my life, no matter the circumstances. And I feel bad. I feel like I fucked that up. I can't fix it, though. And I moved on. And I don't mean moved on like everyone thinks moved on meant. I moved on by doing something else. By knowing that you wanted nothing to do with me. And by realizing that I'm going to be okay. With or without you. And I think that's the biggest part of recovery. I think that's the biggest part about getting better. Whatever you're going through is realizing that you're going to be okay. I don't think anyone ever told me that. Except for you. Every single time I had a fucking breakdown, every single time I had a manic episode, or I got too fucking drunk and got angry, every single time something stupid would happen, he always told me, you're going to be fine. And I did not get it until he finally stopped saying it. How fucked is that? How fucked is that? Like, the irony isn't like, the irony isn't dawning on me just now. It's more like I'm just verbalizing it for the first time. I didn't understand that I would always be fine until he finally stopped saying it. And I think the reason was because I always had him as a safety net. And whether that is a bad thing or a good thing, I still don't know. But because my safety net was finally gone, I realized I'm going to be fine. It's like, you ever heard of, like, how trapeze artists always say that they feel calmer when they're up on a rope and there's harder things under them? Like, if there was rocks under you and you were walking on a tightrope, you suddenly feel calmer. This is what people like that say. And they say that the reason is because if you hit the rocks, you know it's over. But if you hit the safety net, you have to go through the motions. You have to go through the emotion. And I know this sounds like a fucking weird analogy for death, but it's not. In fact, quite the opposite. I finally walked across the tightrope while there was rocks under me, and I realized I'm a really good fucking trapeze artist. I'm really good at walking the fucking rope. I'm really good at it. Like, unbelievably good. I can calm myself down. I can go through my emotions. I can analyze myself. I can be better. And that is the craziest shit I ever realized. And I wouldn't have done it without him. And I just wish I could say thank you. Thank you for everything. Everything that you did meant something to me. And every single word that you spoke has been implanted in my brain for the last 9 years we've known each other. And I'm finally using it. And I don't think you realize how much you actually helped me. Thank you for leaving. Whether that was because you thought you would be better or because you thought I would be better or whatever. Thank you. You finally made me fucking walk. And I appreciate that. And I'm not saying that I will never answer your calls if you ever decide to call again, or that I won't call you again sometime just to see how you're doing. It means that I'm happy that you're not my safety net anymore. And it's all thanks to you. The last person I ended up losing this year. Oh, is it lagging? No, no, not really. Uh, yeah, so the last person that I ended up losing this year was or losing as in like friendship wise was my friend Danny, kind of. And I think the reason was because of just I don't know, like money issues between us. I'm not gonna go into that. I mean, it is what it is. I'm pretty sure I could text him and ask him for whatever uh it is and figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to, if that makes sense. Um I mean, like, I still love Danny. I just don't think he really wants to talk to me. Um and that's fine. I still love all these people, and I understand why they stopped talking to me. And I'm not going to beg them to come back into my life because I'm better. And I'm not better without them than I was with them. I'm just better in a different way. I would say that I'm happier now, just in a weirder way. I feel like I could be doing different things than I was. And that's cool. Um the last big thing to happen to me, actually, hmm, I guess there's like three things that happened that I could talk about. And I'm not sure whether I want to talk about two of them. So, so the first thing that happened was me and my father decided that I should move down to Florida. And that will be happening sometime this next year. And the reason for that is because I need to start a new life for myself. I My dad was a raging alcoholic with many people who hated him while he lived up here. And the reason he moved down to Florida was because he needed to start a new life, because he was a new person. He needed to start brand new. I am not that bad. At one point, I was a chronic liar. At another point, I I did some awful things to people. At another point, I was a fucking conservative douchebag who was transphobic and homophobic. At another point, I was basically a sociopath. And I burned so many bridges along the way. But I think that because I did that, I became the person I am today. And I'm very happy with that. And I'm not happy for the people I hurt, but I'm happy that I'm okay. That I'm doing good, you know? So my dad, after I told him about how I basically ditched my entire friend group, he asked like, um so what's the plan? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no friends up here anymore. So what I did was I went down to Pittsburgh. I met up with some of my internet friends and someone who I'll talk about later. And while I was there, I realized that I can make a new life for myself anywhere. And I think that was hard for me to realize at first because everything I had loved was here. And I think getting rid of everything was really my telltale sign to say, just do it. So I'm planning on moving down to Florida next year, to live with my dad and kind of get on my feet and move. Just swim after I've been stuck for so long. Not stuck per se, but after I stopped moving. Um uh the person other than my internet friends who I met down in Florida, um or down in Pittsburgh was my boyfriend. We had our 6 months uh last week or 10 days ago now. Um that was pretty cool. That was pretty crazy to be honest. I yeah, I didn't expect it. I I just got out of a lot of shitty things happening to me and I started talking to this guy and I was like, yeah, I mean, whatever it is, it's not going to last very long. And I just ended up falling in love with him. I mean, like, honestly, he's like the love of my life. I don't say that lightly because I really don't talk about relationships on YouTube anymore after the first time I did it. Um because that was a really funny situation that happened. For anyone who fucking remembers that. Oh god. What a classic throwback. That was a funny fucking time. Um but yeah, I think I'm really happy with this guy and I don't see a future where things go horribly wrong for us. And that's nice because usually I'm not in control of myself enough to predict where things are going to go, and I think that I finally am. I think we're going to be good. I think this is going to last a long time, and I'm happy for that. The last thing that happened this year was Christmas, I guess. I mean, Christmas just kind of hit, and I don't know, like it happened, yeah. And then I just reflected on everything that's happened this year, man. I genuinely can't believe it. It's like you guys ever heard of the Mandela effect? I know it's a weird thing to bring up right now, but for anyone who doesn't know, the Mandela effect is this idea that uh basically everyone remembers this thing a certain way and it's not like this anymore, and everyone's like, well, it's always been like this, and everyone else is like, no, it hasn't, blah blah blah, and they argue about it, right? I I came into Christmas this year and I thought, like, damn, Christmas really doesn't feel like Christmas this year. And I thought, well, it's because you're getting older. Well, it's you lost a lot of friends this year. Usually you see them around Christmas time. Um and then everyone on the internet just started saying the same thing, and I was like, maybe it's not that. Maybe, like, what could it be? And I thought, and I realized it's because COVID. It's literally like we all stopped for COVID and we all got to spend time together all the time. And now that COVID's over, um, we haven't managed to meet back up with our extended families or anything. And I think that really sucks. Um, because I would absolutely love to see my extended family. Uh, I'm supposed to be going to see my uncle on Tuesday, which I believe is tomorrow. Crazy. Um, I got the day off work and everything, just so I could come and see him and my cousin and my aunt. I yeah, that was that's gonna be a interesting one. COVID was weird for everyone, I think. I think now that it's really starting to die down, I think it's so weird because we all stopped. You ever notice that? Like for 2.5 years, we all just pushed the fucking stop button, and and then when most vaccines were out, a lot of people still didn't get the fucking vaccine. Bunch of fucking dumbasses those guys are. Um, when we pushed the start button again though, and everything kept moving again, nothing felt the same. I don't mean that in a depressing way either. It was just like This? This is it? God damn. A lot of great things happened to me this year. And I think now that I've talked about all of it, I can formulate it into an idea, right? Um it's the idea of altruism. So, I think that's the word. I might be using a totally wrong word, and if I am, I'm fucking stupid. And if I'm watching this in the fucking future and you know I'm using the wrong word, fuck you for not knowing it at this point. You're a dumbass. Feel bad. Um, but it's the idea of altruism. It's like I see the good in all the bad, and I take the bad with a grain of salt. And I think that's such a healthy way to fucking live. I feel like I've been so good at that this year. And I think even though I've had down moments and I've had my ups and I've had all of that, I think the fact that I kept my mind from telling itself that that was it was really what kept me in place this year. And I think that's really good. I'm really happy with this year. And I know it doesn't seem like it because, I didn't get a lot done and I lost a lot of people and I did a lot of bad things, but I am because I learned, because I did better, because I am better. And that's all I can fucking ask for, really. Like, who in their right mind is going to ask for everything to be fucking, perfect all the time? No one. No one's that fucking dumb, right? Maybe, possibly. Ah, I don't really know. What I do know is that I see a future that I'm looking forward to. And I know it's going to suck to be without the people that I'm without, but it's also going to be really, really fun. Thanks. Um Usually I end the video by like having a full mental breakdown or something like that. But I really can't do that. Not because I can't have a mental breakdown, because I've done that plenty this year, but because I have nothing to be sad about right now. I think I've processed it. So, goals for next year. Um, that's a tough one. Um, Probably after moving down to Florida, moving in with my boyfriend, um, after situating my social life and all of that, maybe trying to go and do more content, maybe in a different sphere than I usually do. Maybe I'll start back up a league series. I haven't done one of those in so long, man. Last League series I had to delete off my channel. Or not delete, but privatize off my channel because it had a really bad name. It's kind of hard for you to get an editing job while your channel has the R word on it. So that was maybe I'll do a League series. Creators I want to shout out this year that really inspired me to either do more in gaming or ideas for content in the future. I want to shout out Mog Swamp. Um, he made a video that I saw earlier this year, called um my 10-year super flat world, where he survived for 10 years in a super flat world, and it was like the entire history of it. That was super cool, and I've been watching him ever since. And honestly, he is such a cool YouTuber, and if you want, you should check him out. Definitely. Um the other person that I would say I I was really inspired by this year, at least gameplay wise, was Pianta, which is a Australian League YouTuber who did this A to Z series where he played every champ in League of Legends from A to Z. That was super fucking cool, and that inspired me to pick up so many different champions this year. Um, one of which uh I might do a video on at some point. I don't know. The last person I want to shout out content wise, um trying to think. There's so many people that I could choose from here. I want to choose someone who most people wouldn't think of. Oh my god. Oh my god, I gotta pull up his fucking Twitter. I can't think of how to say his fucking last name. Uh his last name is so fucking insane. Um okay. How do you fucking pronounce this, man? I have no fucking clue. Uh Yeah, so David Sajanek. That's how you pronounce it. You heard that obviously. Uh David Sajanek, he is a TikTok creator who blew up in the League community on TikTok. And that guy is so fucking insane, man. Like honestly, I cannot think of a single guy who deserves it more than him. Like, he works a full time job at Disney. He posts way more than most fucking creators on TikTok, especially league creators who don't just post like highlights or whatever. And on top of that, he has turned it into an actual business with his stream, with his guest appearances, with everything. It's so fucking cool. Honestly, if you want to watch a league content creator or just look up to a content creator in general, I would say David Sajanek is definitely the guy to look forward to. Or look at. He's honestly great. I've talked to him actually. Amazing guy. Amazing guy. Um, yeah. That's that's my year. Thanks for you know, Thanks for preying on my downfall. I don't know. I don't know how to end this because I don't know who watches these videos is the problem. I think that it's future me, but at the same time, I know that a lot of fucking people watched these when they were on the original channel. Um and I don't know who watched them. So, thanks for watching future me. Thanks for watching people who wanted to see me have a mental breakdown. Thanks for people who care about my content in general and just wanted to see how my year's gone. Thanks to people who just genuinely care about me and wanted to see how I was doing. Thanks to everyone who watched this video. And thanks to everyone. Everyone who stayed, everyone who left. And to those who will not be forgotten. May y'all have a wonderful 2023.